All right, so let's dive into this Tesla We robot event. I know what you're thinking. Another Elon Musk spectacle, right? More bold promises. But this one went a little bit beyond the hype. Tesla unveiled this vision where robots are basically like woven into our everyday lives, like changing how we travel, what we do, maybe even, who we hang out with. I mean, think about it. Driverless robo-taxis, right? Just zipping you around, robo-vans, big robo-vans, moving groups of people. And then you got personal robot helpers, these Tesla bots handling our everyday tasks. So let's, unpack this vision a little. What are the specifics here and just how realistic is this robot-filled future Tesla is painting? We'll start with kind of the star of the show, I guess, the Cybercab. Okay, so picture this. Silver chrome vehicle, sleek, futuristic, no steering wheel, no pedals. You just hop in and tell it where to go. That's it. And get this. Musk is aiming for a price tag under $30,000. I mean, that's less than a lot of new cars today. Forget about those charging cables. The Cybercab is going to use inductive charging, meaning it basically powers up wirelessly. Pretty cool tech, right?
So the rollout plan is like phased. Starting next year, Tesla's Model 3 and Model Y cars in Texas and California will be equipped with some autonomous driving features. And then by 2026, if the regulatory hurdles are cleared, the dedicated cybercab, it'll hit the streets. Musk sees these cybercabs as a form of I don't know, individualized mass transit, making transportation super cheap. I mean, potentially as low as 20 cents a mile. Imagine that. No more traffic jams, no searching for parking. It could completely revolutionize how we commute, how cities are designed, how we live even. But they didn't stop there. They also unveiled the Robovan, basically a larger cybercab, but designed to carry like 20 people or a whole lot of cargo. Think like sports teams, reducing traffic, efficient and cost-effective public transport. Musk even suggested a price point of, get this, 5 to 10 cents a mile. For the Robovan, 5 to 10 cents a mile. I mean, can you imagine? Now, while these vehicles are impressive, the part that really got everyone talking, the thing that caught everyone's attention was the Tesla bot, also known as Optimus. Remember those early demos where it was literally just like a person in a robot suit? Well, they've come a long way. This event showed off some more sophisticated prototypes of the Tesla bot. And sure, they're still a bit clunky, but you can see where this is headed. Imagine a personal robot that can teach, babysit, walk the dog, help with groceries, all that stuff. It's like having a multi-talented helper around the house. And the projected cost, surprisingly affordable, somewhere in the range of $20,000 to $30,000, potentially even less than the cost of a new car in the long run. I mean, that's pretty wild. Now, I know this all sounds incredibly futuristic, maybe even, I don't know, a little bit outlandish, and to be honest, a little skepticism is probably warranted. Tesla hasn't always, delivered on its self-driving promises. Remember all the buzz around autopilot and full self-driving? Those features haven't really, lived up to their names. There have been crashes, recalls, even accusations of false advertising. Plus, Musk has a history of, I don't know, overpromising on timelines, right? He predicted fully autonomous cars back in 2021, which obviously didn't happen. Now he's saying 2026 for the Cybercab. So, can we really take his word for it this time? I don't know. And let's not forget, Tesla's not the only one in this game. Companies like Waymo, they already have robotaxis operating in some cities, so the competition is definitely fierce. But even with all that, it's hard to deny the ambition, right? And the potential of Tesla's vision. So let's take a step back, okay? Let's consider the bigger picture here. What could a world with all these autonomous vehicles and robots, actually look like? What are the good things, the bad things? How will this technology reshape our lives? On the one hand, the potential benefits, they're pretty clear. Imagine a world with fewer accidents, right? Less traffic, more free time for everyone. People who can't drive, they could suddenly have this newfound independence. But what about the downsides? What happens to all the truck drivers, the taxi drivers, all the delivery drivers whose jobs, could be automated? Will robots be able to provide that same level of care as a human babysitter or teacher? I don't know. And how comfortable are we really with becoming so reliant on technology? I mean, these are crucial questions that we need to consider. We're talking about a potential paradigm shift here, a future where robots are just seamlessly integrated into our lives. And this isn't like, some far-off science fiction fantasy. It's starting to feel, I don't know, very real, very fast. So let's explore this further. In part 2 of this deep dive, we'll look at the potential implications of this technology, both the exciting possibilities and the challenges it poses. Okay, so we're back, and we're continuing our deep dive into Tesla's robot revolution. And if you're just tuning in, we're really exploring this vision they have, this vision of a future where robots aren't just stuck in factories, but are actually out and about, integrated into our everyday lives. Everything from how we get around to even like what's going on in our homes. In part one, we went over the specifics of all the big reveals, the Cybercab, the Robovan, and of course, the Tesla bot. But now, I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to get into the implications of all this new tech. Because, yeah, the thought of robots doing all our chores, zipping us around town, that sounds pretty appealing, right?
Yeah.
But there are some, I think, pretty big what ifs here that we can't just, brush aside. Let's start with the elephant in the room, okay? Jobs. If self-driving vehicles really do become, like the normal thing, the norm, what happens to all the people whose jobs, depend on driving? All the truck drivers, taxi drivers, delivery drivers. I mean, we're talking, millions and millions of jobs that could potentially just vanish. And it's not even, just transportation that we have to think about. Remember, the Tesla bot, that thing is designed to be like super multifunctional, potentially taking on roles like, teaching, babysitting, even dog walking. I mean, that's a whole bunch of jobs across a whole bunch of sectors that could be affected. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, new jobs will pop up, just like they always have with, new technology. And yeah, that's a fair point. History has kind of shown us that we as humans, we're pretty good at finding new things to do, new to make a living. But I think the scale of this is different, right? The speed of this change is unlike anything we've seen before. This transition, it could be, I don't know, really, really messy. And we really need to be thinking about, how we manage it, how we handle it all. Retraining programs, for example, right? Those would be absolutely crucial to help people learn new skills, skills that are actually relevant in this new job market. And maybe we need to consider even more, I don't know, radical solutions, things like universal basic income, right? Maybe that's something we need to talk about, to make sure people are okay financially in a world where, traditional jobs are kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But the implications go even beyond just jobs.
Yeah.
There's some pretty heavy ethical stuff to consider too. For instance, if these Tesla bots become the ones taking care of our kids or our, elderly parents, I mean, are we really okay with that? That level of robotic involvement in such important roles. Can a machine ever really understand and respond to, human emotions? Can it really give that same level of care and empathy as another human? I don't know. And what about bias? I mean, if these robots are learning from, data that was created by us, by humans, could they pick up our same prejudices? Could they inherit, I don't know, our same blind spots? It's a tricky issue, and it's one we really need to grapple with as, all this technology keeps advancing. And then, of course, there's the whole dependence thing, right? What happens if we just, we lean on these robots so much that we start to lose certain skills ourselves? If we never have to drive anymore, what happens to our, spatial awareness, our reaction times? Do those just get worse? If robots do all our chores, do we just become, I don't know, less physically active, less capable? And if robots are the ones providing us companionship, do we start to lose those essential social skills that come from interacting with other people? Look, I'm not saying robots are inherently evil or that we need to just reject this technology altogether. There's real potential here. There's a lot of good that could come out of this. But we need to be smart about it. We need to approach it with, caution and critical thinking. We need to be aware of the potential downsides and really, really think about how this technology develops and how it becomes part of our lives. This can't just be dictated by, some tech company. It needs to be a conversation, a decision that we make as a society. So we've explored some of those potential economic disruptions, the ethical questions, the risks of becoming too dependent. In the last part of our deep dive, we're going to tackle another big one, okay? Safety. Because when we're talking about robots operating in our homes, in our workplaces, on our roads, safety can't just be an afterthought. Okay, so welcome back for, the final part of our deep dive into Tesla's robot-filled future. We've talked about, all the potential benefits, the economic and social impacts, all the ethical questions. But there's one more big piece of the puzzle that we need to address, and that's safety. Because let's be honest, handing over control to robots, whether it's our cars, our homes, it involves risk. And when we're talking about, autonomous vehicles, that risk could be pretty serious. Tesla, as we've discussed, has been really pushing its self-driving tech, autopilot and full self-driving. But we can't just forget that there have been some pretty bad accidents and some controversies surrounding these systems. Regulators, they've accused Tesla of, I don't know, maybe exaggerating their capabilities a little bit, and there have been a bunch of investigations into crashes that involved autopilot. Tesla's argument is that technology is getting better all the time, and that eventually self-driving cars, they'll be way safer than human drivers. And statistically, they might have a point. Humans, we make mistakes, we get distracted. Sometimes people drive under the influence. Robots, in theory, they don't do any of that. But the tech, it's not perfect, not even close. So what happens when an autonomous vehicle runs into something it's never seen before, right? Some situation it doesn't know how to handle. How is it going to react in, I don't know, crazy weather? And what about, hacking, cyber attacks? I mean, these are all big questions that need to be figured out and figured out thoroughly before we can really, truly trust robots with our lives. And then there's the whole issue of, something goes wrong, who's to blame? If there's an accident with a self-driving car, who's responsible? The owner of the car, the manufacturer, the company that made the software. I mean, these are complicated legal questions that our system, I don't know, I don't think it's really equipped to answer right now. We need rules. We need clear guidelines to make sure there's accountability and that people are protected. So, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We've talked about, all of the amazing things that could happen if robots become a bigger part of our lives, all the ways things could change for better or worse, the ethical stuff, the safety concerns, it's a lot. And this future that Tesla is showing us, this robot-filled future, it's not, it's not some far-off fantasy. It's starting to feel like it's right around the corner. And ready or not, it's coming. Companies like Tesla are spending billions on this tech, and it's only a matter of time before it's just part of our everyday lives. The key is to, I don't know, approach it with open eyes, right? To have these conversations, to really think critically about it all, to demand that this technology, it's developed the right way,
Yeah.
that it's used in a way that actually benefits humanity. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. The future, it's not set in stone, it's not predetermined, it's something we create. And the choices we make now, they're the ones that are going to determine what kind of world we live in and what kind of world we leave for, for the next generation. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged. This is a conversation that's just getting started, and we all have a part to play in, in figuring out where it goes from here.